Welcome back. You may have caught our first Healthy Living Matters segment last week with our friends from Community Medical Centers. Each week, we'll continue the conversation around stroke awareness and how to spot the common symptoms of this serious medical event. Community Medical Centers is here to educate, inform, and arm us with preventable measures we can take if someone we love has a stroke. Well, they can happen to even the healthiest people, and that's why it's so important to know the signs and symptoms of stroke. So joining us now is RN David Nicholas, and I love these segments that we've been doing because I know several people who had strokes before they were even 30.
Yeah.
So what exactly is a stroke and what causes it to happen?
Well, there's two types of stroke. We split them up into hemorrhagic strokes, which are bleeds on the brain.
Okay.
And then the other side are ischemic strokes, which are due to clots or blockages in the arteries around the brain.
Okay, so two different types. Is one worse than the other, or they both kind of have similar outcomes?
They can both have similar outcomes, but the treatments are completely opposite of each other. One, you'd have to try and get rid of the clot and remove the clot to perfuse the brain again. The other one with the bleed, you'd have to try and stop the bleeding and control the bleeding.
And who is most at risk? How do we know if we're at risk for a stroke?
There's the same kind of contributing factors to a lot of health problems. Obesity, high cholesterol, smoking, lack of exercise, hypertension, all those have an influence in your chances of having a stroke.
How much do genetics play into?
Genetics can, with family history of high cholesterol, which can fur the arteries. So that can be a contributing factor, as well as stuff that you can control yourself.
So how do we identify a stroke? Because sometimes, you know, like you said, you might not know that you have high cholesterol, or you might not know that there is a family history of stroke. How do we identify if somebody's having a stroke?
So we use a basic acronym called BFAST, and that is kind of broken down for people to spot early signs and symptoms of stroke. So BFAST, the first letter is B, and that's for balance. If you or somebody that you know has suddenly got they can't walk in a straight line, or they're very, very dizzy when they walk, that can be a sign of a stroke.
Okay.
The E of BFAST will be eyes. Have you suddenly had a vision loss? Is one side of your vision completely gone, or is part of the vision gone? That can be, again, a sign of stroke. And then the classic symptoms is the FAST, which is facial droop. So if you ask the person to smile, does one side of their face not raise up with the other side? And then weakness in the arms or the legs, get them to hold their arms up in front of them. Does one of the arms drift down, or does one of the legs not move, or not move at all with one of the arms? And then, is their speech slurred? Is it different from normal? Sometimes it can be clear, but the words are just not in the appropriate place. They might
sort
say
of like
yes for no.
Word salad or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. And then if they have any of those symptoms, the important thing is the T for time.
Right.
Get them to the hospital as quick as you can when the symptoms start. Time is very crucial to this for recovery and to get them back to their baseline. There's stuff that we can do in the first 4.5 hours that we can't do over that 4.5 hour window.
Oh, okay.
There are actually medications that we can give to patients that are having one of those blockage strokes, that we can actually try and dissolve the clot that's sitting in their brain.
And that will help the outcome. That will get them, you know, more of their brain function than if you were to wait.
I mean, I think the evidence of that is if you get to the hospital within 4.5 hours and you fit the criteria to have one of these medications, your chances of recovery are 30% greater than if you don't come to the hospital.
And when we say recovery, we're talking about things like your dexterity and your mobility and your speech and your thought processing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be absolutely devastating. Strokes kill people, but they also are one of the biggest contributing factors to long-term disability. To patients going to nursing homes, costing billions and billions millions of dollars a year, and also massive impact on, you know, the patient and their family. Full-time care. I mean, what we want to do is, you know, stop those brain cells dying. Every minute that goes by, millions and millions of brain cells die. So we want to reverse that and get them back to their baseline as quick as we can.
So if we have people out there, they know that they have a family history of stroke, they know they have high cholesterol, that this could be an issue for them, what's the type of care they could receive at community medical centers?
So again, depending on what stroke you're having, the hemorrhagic strokes go to our neurosurgical team, and they can do certain different you know, operations to help control that bleeding. From the ischemic, the blockage stroke, again, like we mentioned, in that first 4.5 hours, if you fit the criteria, there's a certain medication we can give to help break that clot up, to restore that blood flow to the brain. We also offer what we call endovascular treatment, which is where very specialized doctors can go in into the brain with little tubes and actually pull those clots out and possibly put stents in, like they do in the heart, but the same procedures for the brain to then help perfuse that brain, get the blood flow back to that brain.
So a whole team responsible for responding to strokes at community medical centers. They've got it down. It's very militant when I talk to you guys about what you do. You know exactly what to do and what the signs are because you've seen them so often. So thank you so much for being here, David. An RN at Community Regional Medical Centers. We have all the information if you want to learn about the signs and symptoms of strokes. We have all of that on our website as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.